Charles Massey has 40 years of service to the Parsonsburg Fire Company. He's dedicated his time throughout that entire 40 years helping others. He's always one that's there to help someone else, never ask for anything back in return.
40 years is a very long time to be in the fire service. I think 40 years, we will probably not see that very often going into the future.
But I remember an open invitation from my father-in-law, Vaughn Jones, who encouraged me to join the fire department. He personally had been a member of the fire department for many, many years. And he was a man that was dedicated to family, to the fire department, to his church, his community. And he encouraged his entire family to serve. And that continues now with his children and his grandchildren being a part of public service, the fire service, if you will, to this day. I remember when Steve White and I got in, I think at the same meeting. And I can remember coming to that first meeting and looking around, I think Steve and I were the youngest people here. Now when I come to a meeting here, I'm the oldest person here. So that's how time flies. Whether it be 40 years or such, time goes by fast.
I remember the sacrifices that Dad made, leaving dinners early, running calls at 2 or 4 in the morning, rushing home to get the school bus out, leaving family events early to go help his community.
But he'd always come back.
Yeah, he would always come back.
It's been a pleasure to be a part of this organization, the fine men and women of this department who dedicate and commit their lives to serving others. And I can remember a couple of calls that I've been on. I have a number of memories, but one call that comes to mind is one that was over on Daggsburg Road many years ago. And it was I came in as a report as a plane crash, and indeed it was. Two men were taking a leisure flyover, I think, and hit some trees or something, and the plane went down. At the time I lived right around the corner from where the incident was. And I got there, the plane was fully engulfed, totally demolished, and these men were still inside. And it's a memory that has never left me and never will. It was a situation where there was nothing that I could do. But after all those years, it still weighs heavy on my heart. But there's been a lot of good times too. A lot of good times, a lot of fellowship down here. You know, it's just being there when there's a need. When that alarm goes off and it goes through the 911 center, somebody needs help. And whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. And when this siren goes off, the response from this company always has been, and I know always will, is to respond to the need that is there. And they have, and just to be in the presence of people who have dedicated and committed their life to service. Christ was brought here on earth to serve, and we are to serve also.
I remember when the pager went off, it was a family affair. Dad and Chris would rush out the door and try to get their shoes on, and I would throw open the side door and put the garage door up so they could run out and run to the firehouse to go on the call.
From Mr. Jones passing it on down, from me passing on down, I can remember bringing Chris down. He was not much more popular than I don't think he was even 2 weeks old. And he's still serving the people now through his job at the 911 center, his involvement in the couple of fire companies he's involved into. And I'm very proud of both of them for what they do, because when that phone call rings again at 911, many of those calls are life-threatening.
When was Chelsea's interest in the fire department?
Well, there's a difference in age between the two. There's 5 years difference between the two, but she was quick to follow, behind Chris. Again, she was seeing what he was doing, his involvement, and seeing the need. So she wanted to be a part of it. That's why she became involved in the fire department here and the EMS part of it here, but also at her job at the 911 center. Again, it's just something. It's something that's in the heart of everybody that's here.
And it's the passion of helping others and the joy he gets out of it.
I think he's meant to do this. Like, it's all part of, Dad's real strong in his faith and real grounded in that and wants to follow God's plan. And I think all of this is what's meant for Dad to get back.
Growing up in the fire department was like a second family. It's home.
Always down here with Dad for bingos and hay rides, Santa ride, just calls, or just a visit, just to learn how things go here.
My advice would be for anyone coming into the department is to answer the call, answer the need. Someone needs help. Okay. Use your hands, your feet, your mind, everything that you are blessed to have to help these people. It's what it's all about.
Charles, since the day I met the man, I will have to say he was a very quiet individual, but there was one thing that stood out more to me than anything else was his kind heart. He cares more about the community. He cares more about his family. And he's one of those that if you get up in the middle of the night and you're experiencing some kind of a problem, Charles Massey would be one you would call and he would come help you. I don't think there's anything that the man wouldn't do for you. He lives his life that way. They always say, if you want to know what kind of character a person has, go into their home. Charles Massey's invited me into his home and made me part of his family. I've been there for events, I've been there for birthdays, I've been there for celebrations, and the man lives in his home like he lives in the public. He wants to be the example of Christ walking on the earth. He serves because he cares, and that's what got him through 40 years.
Congratulations, Charles Massey, on 40 years of service to Parsonsburg and Wicomico County, Maryland.